What up YouTube, RPG here. Today's August 1st. I'm going to go over the last and final chapter of MCDP-7. It's titled The Learning Leader. This chapter talks about the qualities that make a good leader, right? It goes over having strong interpersonal skills. Now, what does this mean? Being able to work in groups of 2 to maybe 20, 30 people. Being able to work on a macro and micro scale and managing individuals, but as well as developing great and strong communication skills, leadership skills, knowing how to boost one up or maybe having to check them if it's needed, able to have an open dialogue, right? You want to be able to have a conversation, even if it might be hard to have it, or maybe it's an easy conversation. You want people to be able to come to you with their problems, right? You can work on them together. You want to share your experiences and hold people accountable, but you also want to be able to think as a group and work out solutions to how certain people can overcome their struggles, right? And when people succeed, you celebrate their success. When people are struggling, you help them out, right? Give them a helping hand. In my opinion, one of the biggest things that makes someone a good leader is being able to, is them themselves having the experience, right? If someone has gone through something themselves, they have learned the hard way, maybe even the easy way, if they know what mistakes are typical of people making, they are able to be put in a position where they can mentor somebody, right? It would be like if LeBron James decided to coach, middle school and high school students, right? He's extremely qualified, has tons of experience. He knows how to dribble the ball, control the ball, shoot the ball, right? And he can teach these skills and tips to the younger generation who doesn't know how to execute them properly. And one point that they bring up is that teaching and leading go hand in hand. If you can't teach someone, then you can't lead them. If you can't lead someone, then you can't teach them, right? These things are one and the same, and they come together. In this chapter, they go over the Socratic Method, which is a teaching style. Basically, it's you go into an environment where you're allowed to ask questions and you get answers, right? And most of the time, it's in a group think. It can be one-on-one. But picture you're in a room, a classroom, right? Maybe 10, 15 people. And the class as a whole is struggling with a certain problem. Well, someone asks a question, and the teacher may answer it. Well, the teacher may answer it with a question to stimulate critical thinking, right? Because you can't always baby feed people the answers. You can't always just give them what they want. They have to learn how to do it on their own, right? Kind of similar to, you can give a man a fish, but if you teach him how to fish, then he'll get a fish for a lifetime, or something like that. So that's why as a leader, it's important to encourage these dialogues so that you can get these things out the way. If people feel like they can't come to you, let's say because you'll be upset, or you'll criticize them harshly, or you'll make fun of them, they're not going to want to come to you with the problems, right? They're going to try to figure it out on their own. And if they don't know how to do that, then you might be in a situation where they need to know how to do it, and they're sitting duck. They don't know what to do, right? And at a time where that's critical, you don't want something like that to happen. And one more thing they go over in this chapter something they really talk upon is the number one skill that every leader should have, and that's humility. Humility is, in a sense, being egoless, right? You're putting others before yourself. And when you're in control of a team, right, when you're a leader of, let's say, 5, 7 people, you're responsible for everything about them, right? And of course, it all depends on the situation, right? Like if you're in the army, and this is what they go after, they're saying that you're responsible for their well-being, their physical and mental well-being. You're responsible to make sure they're fully rested, they got their sleep, they're eating, right? In a job setting, probably a lot of that goes away, though it doesn't have to be, right? Point is that your team comes first. But what comes before your team is the mission. You can't accomplish the mission if the group of people you're leading, they're not up to the task. That's why they say humility needs to be the number one skill. Now after that would be being humble, right? No need to brag, stay humble, right? Climb a mountain, tell no one. That kind of stuff. Another reason why to be humble is that you don't know everything, right? There's always something to learn from somewhere, from someone, right? There's always going to be someone who knows more than you, right? Just like they say, there's always going to be someone who's taller than you, stronger than you, smarter than you, funnier than you. There's always somebody who's better. So stay humble, because you can always learn from the person who's better than you. When you learn from them, then you increase your value, right? Your self-improvement goes up, right? And that's what you always want to do. That's what you want to strive for. Strive to be the best person that you can be, right? Because in any situation, you want to be a person who's able to bring value, right? If you're not bringing value, then you're kind of just dead weight, right? You don't want to be dead weight. And the final thing we'll be going over is something called technical proficiency. So in these chapters, we talked about something called education and training, right? When you don't know something, educate yourself. And the things you do know, you train on them, right? And they go hand in hand, and this is how you learn. Well, to bring up the point of, if you are educating or training yourself in an incorrect way, so in educating, that could be something like you look up how to cook chicken, right? But you only you don't see it to the end, right? You get to the part where it's like, okay, you throw it on the stove, you turn on the burner, and you throw the chicken on the pan, right? But there's a couple more steps after. You gotta put oil on the pan so it doesn't stick. Maybe every 10 to 15 minutes, you turn it over so it doesn't burn, and it's able to cook evenly and thoroughly on both sides, right? If you don't see it to the end, then it's possible that your education or the things you learned is incomplete, right? And if you get in the habit of doing things and not completing them, it's going to affect you in the long run. Same thing with training. If you train in a way that's ineffective, if you train in a way that's not beneficial to you, if you train in a way where you don't go from the beginning to the end, it's not going to work out. You're going to get suboptimal results. And they say if this is happening, or if you see this happening, to kick that habit immediately, right? You want to be able to take these things and learn them properly and practice them properly, so that you are building good habits and not bad ones, right? So you want to focus on doing the task correctly while building speed and accuracy. It's not until you learn how to do something properly that you can start trying to do it faster, right, and better. Self-improvement is only going to come from hard work, dedication, patience, and practice. There's no way around it, right? If you're not good at something, you have to dedicate your time in order to learn and practice how to do it correctly. You need patience, because there's going to be a lot of times where you might mess up, or you're not doing it right. Okay? Go easy on yourself. Stay disciplined, knowing that you have to do it, whether you fail, whether you succeed. And just practice, right? So just to recap, this chapter went over the qualities of what makes a good leader, and most of them falling into the category of interpersonal skills, right? So work on your interpersonal skills, right? The second thing that's talked about was teaching and leading, okay? If you don't know how to teach, then you cannot lead. And if you don't know how to lead, you cannot teach, Okay, take it as a principle. If you ever want to lead somebody, you better know how to teach them, right? Guide them, right? If you ever want to teach someone, then you're gonna have to be able to lead them, to show them the way. Say, hey, come here, look at this. You see how this is like this, or you see how you're hitting the baseball wrong. Right at the second you swing, your wrist, you do something with your wrist, you roll it, right? Okay. Then they talk about the Socratic Method. Basically, just getting into a room full of people, asking questions, getting answers, and just getting stimulating conversation, stimulating critical thinking, right? Get people thinking, get people to think on their own, right? You don't want to baby feed people. Okay, it doesn't help no one. And lastly, they go over humility, putting one's self after the team, right? Team comes first, but the mission comes before the team. So I guess technically, right, we could say the mission comes first, then the team, then you. The mission, think of it like a goal, the goal you're trying to accomplish, right? And now to accomplish this goal, you've been assigned a group of people, 20 people. It is your duty to make sure that they're on top of it, that they know what they're doing, that they're well rested, that they're taken care of, so that they can do that job, right? No one's going to want to do the job if you're not taking care of your team, right? So appreciate it if you can just click the like button, subscribe to the channel, throw some comments down below, right? I'm gonna put an email in the description below. If you guys ever have any questions, comments, or concerns, send me an email and I'll bring it up on the channel. And if you're interested in Patreon, go out and check that out. It's me searching on the web from years ago, practically a decade ago, and we're going through all the information relating to women, game, relationships, right? Red pill truths, the red pill lens. Alright, so I'll catch you next time. Peace.